Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about one of your favorite times of the year, or for at least some of you depending on where you live. I'm talking about daylight saving time. And you heard me correctly, it's saving, not savings. My grammar is proficient, not 100% accurate all the time like I imagine a lot of you watching this, but all of those that want to help their students be grammatically correct, it is called daylight saving time. The reason is because the word saving acts as part of an adjective rather than a verb. Maybe this is one of the things you've learned today, I don't know. But hey, here in Wisconsin, I don't necessarily like to lose sleep every year and wake up in the dark, but maybe you don't mind. Either way, the real reason I wanted to talk about it is to share some activities you might consider doing for daylight saving time or standard time. So before we dive right into the math, I think it's necessary to talk about the origins of daylight saving time, the why. Why do we have these 2 days where we change clocks to spring forward or fall back? There's mainly two reasons. One, to better align the day with daylight saving hour, and two, because we are aligned better with daylight hours, it should allow citizens to save energy and costs. I mean, maybe there's something called the Uniform Time Act passed in 1966, and this is why most of the US still participates in these events, but just imagine, back in 1965 in Iowa, there were 23 different pairs of start and end times. It was described as a chaos of clocks. If the Uniform Time Act wasn't passed, we would probably still have a disruption for public transportation, farmers, etc. So we really needed some uniformity. Now, most of Arizona and Hawaii do not use daylight saving time, and the main reason is because Hawaii is close to the equator and the rise and fall of the sun doesn't vary that much. Plus, Arizona is just hot. They use air conditioning a lot, and it doesn't make sense to them to align when the sun is up because then they would use more energy versus less. These are just good conversation starters to take an easy poll of your students. How many still agree with daylight saving time? And what evidence or data do you have to support your decision? We really want students to understand the importance of these two time events in March and November because it does change a lot of things. When do we get up for work? When do we start school? When do we eat? And all these other routines are slightly changed. Time is important, and especially when it comes to time zones. We have 6 separate time zones in the US, and juggling different time zones when meeting with manufacturers, meeting online with coworkers, because people are working from home now and trying to recover from jet lag are common things for some jobs nowadays. So adding story word problems revolving around time zones, even within the United States, can be beneficial problems to solve for students. For example, if the solar flare was visible in New York at 8 a.m., would someone in California be able to see it? It's a cross-curricular question because first you have to understand what is a solar flare, but then you also need to understand what time is it in California. If you want to be more technical, you could add what time of year it is or daylight savings time scenario. So there's a lot of cool ways to integrate problem solving for students using basic math concepts of addition and subtraction. If you're short on time or don't want to spend too much time on this topic, you can certainly use these topics for questions for warm-up exercises. Why not throw in a real-world example now and then for students to think about how math might apply to a job they might do in the future? Simple things like coming up with 1 to 3 questions revolving around a map or a diagram of the world with different time zones on it. Give multi-step problems like someone is flying from Florida to Colorado. Give them a start time and how long the flight is. What time do they arrive if it's a red-eye flight? How does daylight saving time affect the flight, if at all, depending on when the flight takes off? Do they have a meeting to go to the next day? How much time do they have before it starts? Now you're exposing students to potentially new vocabulary or terms they might not have heard of before and relating it to real-world situation. It's the little details that make a difference. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed hearing some daylight saving time activities. If you enjoyed this video, you can find dozens of other educational videos and webinars in the Nasco Education Teacher Resource Center.